go. Let's get started. All right, and we're live. Ocean indeed, Zach Z. Welcome to the server. Hey, Mike, that's me. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Glad you guys made it. Hey there, Puck. Welcome to the stream. My shirt today, I'm wearing my escape room shirt that I got for my 16th birthday. I got it real large so I could keep it for a while. What's up, zombie predator? Hey there, bug. And yeah. Hey, what's up, Zidator? Welcome to the stream. And my day is going actually really well. It's been a pretty chill day. I'm gonna make sure that the bot pinged the server this time. Hey there, Netakrug. Welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you around for a while. Glad you stopped by. Yeah, for some reason the bot isn't working in the server to ping people. It's kind of weird. Saltwater crocodiles. I think the largest, how big do they get? Check my facts. Yeah, they're the largest, I believe. And they get to be up to about like 6.5 meters long maximum. So they're big. They're very common though. I believe they're only found in one place in the world, or a very small area in the world. Salmon actually do both, Netakrug. That's the interesting thing about most salmon. They swim up and downstream into like the mouth of a river into an ocean. And that's why like salmon are always jumping out of water upstream, because they go downstream and then they go upstream. It's like an interesting process of how they breed. So they'll go downstream, then go back upstream, and that's basically how they live their lives. It's kind of weird. A red mohawk? I don't think I've ever considered a mohawk. Well, when I was very little, I thought mohawks were cool. So what I would do is I'd just grab like hair gel and I'll just like put my hair up like this, and just leave it like that. Even though I never like got a real mohawk. Very true, Bold. They just reproduce and then they die. If you guys have ever seen that episode of Futurama where they like do the salmon life cycle, that's basically, it's pretty accurate, besides the fact that they're goofy Futurama characters. Extreme Ocean Mike. A few fish do that. Bull sharks are known to go upstream. However, that's not their natural instincts. They are just capable of doing that because their gills are able to process fresh water without bloating their bodies for short periods of time. No, they're saltwater naturally, but their gills are a lot more efficient than other fish. So they can be in freshwater for short periods of time. However, they can't do it for too long, or else they will bloat up like all other fish if they're put into the wrong type of water, and they will die. If you were a pearl fish, then you could. Which brings me to today's actual special suggestion. Listen up, guys. We have a very special suggestion for today's fish of the day. Well, first, I'm going to see if the Discord pinged anybody. Nope. I'm just going to. Sorry if this double pings everybody. But we live, smiley face. If you lived in the ocean, could you take fish on walks like dogs? Hey there, Lucidor. To answer your question, Puck, I really don't think so. There are some underwater species that would be a little bit more okay with that, such as some cephalopods, because cephalopods are significantly smarter than fish and they're far more curious. Also, some species of crustacean are also very curious and interested in that sort of thing. But fish, I don't think so. And no, you cannot ride the seahorse unless you're very small. The seahorse, they are actually like, they spend most of their lives just eating because most species of seahorse lack digestive systems. So, or they lack a more complicated digestive system. So they end up eating for just most of their lives to stay alive. And it's a lot easier for them to do that because they're primarily like surface filter feeders. So they're able to get by somewhat easily, but they're not meant for harsh activities. They kind of just float around and eat their whole lives. Oh, I don't want to ride a seahorse. I don't think they'd like that at all. Well, it seems that we have enough people so far. The sea creature. Let me think for a second. When I was little, I dressed up as a fireman. I think like a dog or a lion at some point. Dressed up as a lot of superheroes. I dressed up as the Ring Wraith from Lord of the Rings. Um, I don't think I have, to be honest. I dressed up as Joey's World Tour one year because I got really into that. So we might as well don upon the Funfish Friday hat since we have quite a few people and we are ready to go. How long can you blend into a fish community? Um, Probably not very long. Fish they might not be the smartest creatures, but they do rely a lot on instinct. So, especially when it comes to things that are bigger than them. So, it would be pretty easy for them to figure out that you're not one of them or you're not supposed to be there. So, I don't think you'd be able to blend in or not for long. Joey World Tour photos. I might. That year when I dressed up as him, I went with friends. Like one of my friends used to go all out, and they had a really tiny basement. So what they did, it was an unfinished, really tiny basement. And so what they would do is they would like save up the whole year, and over the course of the year, they'd get like these really intricate Halloween stuff, and they would make like their own little haunted house in their basement. And so me and a couple of my closest friends, along with him, would do that. And I dressed up as Joey's World Tour one of those years. I think it was the year we did the escape room in his basement. He did this really cool escape room. It was really, really cool. So it is serious time, Lucid Boar. It's the fun fish ride I had. And I'm glad you think so, Cammy. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm a massive nerd of that type of stuff. Hey, USB cable? Hey, watch the language, Andy. This is a family friendly channel, please. Um, Thanks, Andy. I appreciate your cooperation. No, because unfortunately, laws don't exist in fish society. It's more of just means of survival. So a fish eats another fish, then they ate that fish and they continue to live, and then the other fish just kind of keep living their lives. However, sometimes if it's a more intelligent type of fish like sharks, they might retaliate and try to scare off the attacker. Dolphins are very famous doing that. Dolphins do a really interesting thing. When a member of their pod is injured from like a shark or another predator, the rest of the pod will begin like rapidly circling the injured member on the surface of the water, like constantly jumping in and out of the water, just like a dozen or so dolphins just circling it, and they're trying to like splash and like intimidate the attacker away by this vortex of dolphins. It's really interesting. Well, that depends. Small reef fish will eat algae, small bacteria, plankton, invertebrates, even like small crustaceans, like such as like shrimp or krill. It really just depends. And slightly larger reef fish, even if they're not known as predators, they still will eat other small fish. They just might not be apex predators like the shark or sailfish or barracuda. Just because they don't have sharp teeth doesn't mean they're not a predator. We kind of get that confused because like there are things like the shark, which are like apex predators because they're at the top of the food chain. They're the largest. They've got the teeth, the muscle, the power. You know that. No problem, Cami. Well, it's called bioluminescence. It usually occurs in fish that live in the abysmal zone or areas in the ocean where light cannot reach down that far. And so fish evolved to develop these light sensitive pores on their bodies called photophores, which reflect even the tiniest bit amount of light. And some of the photophores actually just glow themselves because of the light sensitivity. And they evolved this way in order to draw in prey because fish can't see in the dark, much like lots of other things. Most fish cannot see in the dark. So they developed these photophores to lure in prey because light is very uncommon down there. So if a fish sees something light, they'll go and investigate. And so that's how that was developed. There's also a type of fish that almost feels like a flashbang of like photophores. It is not a predator, it's just a little tiny fish. And if a predator tries to get it, it like launches itself forward and like shoots like a massive gust of bioluminescent ooze at it and like blinds it. Well, hey there, Stewie. Glad you can make it to another stream. Always good to see a happy face. I think that's just folklore, Andy. But yeah, that's how bioluminescence and photophores work. It's an evolved trait too, so fish can hunt. Most likely whale calls. Whale calls are massive vibrations that just rocket out. Exactly, Stewie. Whales. Whale calls are one of the loudest things on Earth. It's pretty cool that something so big and graceful can even make a very, some might call it haunting tune. Whale songs are really interesting. Well, underwater volcanoes are most likely very loud, but I was talking about like a living creature. If fish have raves, technically they do. Lots of species of, I like to call them swarm fish, such as like sardines or even tuna. Fish like that who rely on like a massive swarm of each other to ward off predators and survive as a group. They basically rave in a sense. It's pretty cool. It is significantly less common for remora to suck on whales, mainly just because whales need to go up for air because they're mammals that still require that amount of oxygen to breathe. And so remora generally don't try to cling onto them because they can't breathe when they go up. So it isn't as common for them to attach to whales. Thank you, Stewie. I'm glad you liked the awesome Fun Fish Friday hat. I don't think so, Puck. I don't. I don't think something that already relies on three-dimensional movement would be able to sustain itself in a zero gravity environment. Yeah, I don't think so. At least not yet. Until we have a way to counteract zero gravity environments, I don't think fish are going to the moon anytime soon. Fish went to the moon or did they go to space? Yes. Space is significantly more controlled. However, the moon, I don't think they'd be able to last, not necessarily last the journey, but sustain themselves for as long. What fish would I send to the moon? Um, hmm. I guess I'd send an anglerfish, see how it likes the dark, because that's usually where it makes its home. um, with like the magic keyboard, I do remember that. Bunch of baby ducks, send them to the moon. I remember that. But I mean, technically, if that existed, but they wouldn't survive because they require water and gravity. Well, not necessarily gravity, but water surrounded by atmosphere. A bunch of baby ducks did survive. But that's because it's regular show. It's anything but. I really want to be a researcher that works at like controlled environments like aquariums. That's what I want to do at least. I think that'll be amazing. There are fish that can live in very warm environments, and there are underwater, like almost like worm or lamprey type creatures that live on underwater, like magma pipes, but they can't live in it. My favorite ones are probably like the Ripley's Believe It or Not aquarium, the Shed Aquarium in Chicago, or the one in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I think those are the best ones. I almost forgot. I mentioned it a little bit ago, but I didn't really get into it. Today, someone famous gave us a fish of the day suggestion. Well, technically, they didn't give it as a suggestion, but it is their favorite fish as we talked today. So, today we have a very special fish of the day, well, Fun Fish Friday fish to talk about. So, the person who has given us today's special fish of the day is Shadman. So, today's special fish of the day is brought to us by Shadman. Thank you, Shadman, for your fish of the day contribution. I'm doing this kind of as a joke because you mentioned it. So, today's fish of the day is the pearl fish. He said this kind of as a joke, but he said really that he likes all of them, which I love that answer. So I'll just tell you about the pearl fish just for the fun of it. So the pearl fish you might actually know because they are a very almost eel-like fish that makes its homes inside of invertebrate. It makes temporary shelter inside of invertebrates. It's a mutualistic relationship, meaning that it's not symbiotic or what do you call it, parasitic, but they both benefit and they don't really affect each other too much. Well, they both benefit. Like neither one of them is affected negatively from the. Very true, Andy. And so they will. They're most famously found inside sea cucumbers. They'll go inside the sea cucumber and stay there, basically, because the sea cucumber is filtering in algae and other micro particles for it to absorb through its osmosis process inside of its body to live, and some of that is taken in by the pearlfish. And so they both benefit from this arrangement. And it's kind of funny to see just a little pearlfish swim inside a sea cucumber and just chill there. Sorry, Cammy. I think Aquaman's cool, and I actually love the Aquaman movie. By far the best DC movie, in my opinion. We will have this conversation on the Discord, fellas. Let's not talk about this here. This is a family-friendly channel. Sure, Andy, why not? It's not bad at all. Well, people are nice there. We'll talk about this on the Discord, fellas. Okay, I did start it, but we'll talk about it later. And no, they do not eat the sea cucumber. They just kind of stay in there. They don't really damage it too much. And if they do, it is not entirely by intention, but it is for the most part, mutualist relationship. It's pretty cool. The best parasitic fish, there are some. I'm trying to think of a good example. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I was actually about to give one. Ooh, I've got a lot of cool questions coming in. So parasitic fish. I need to look up its name real quick. I have it on the tip of my tongue. Pardon me. Well, lampreys are, but that's kind of obvious. They've got like the completely circular mouths at the end of its body, and they like bite down on their prey. They kind of, I can't believe I almost forgot. I've done a fish on the day of this. Cookie cutter sharks. Cookie cutter sharks are technically parasites. They don't kill their prey. They never do because they want to keep coming back to it for more meals. Cookie cutter sharks have a really unique lifestyle, and much like their name, cookie cutter shark, they will take they'll cut cookie shaped bites out of their prey and just eat that. And they'll continue to do this on their prey. And they won't kill it because they want to keep being able to eat over time. Most cookie cutter sharks rely on only like one or two organisms throughout their lifespan because they just keep it alive. However, it damages the other organism, making it a parasitic relationship. I do like baking actually. My favorite thing to bake is probably strawberry rhubarb pie. I love myself a strawberry rhubarb pie. Saltwater crocodile or great white shark? That's a bit hard to say. Honestly, not sure. For the sake of being Ocean Mike, I'm just gonna say it's the great white shark, even though that might not be extremely accurate. Best ancient fish. I really love the Mosasaurus. I know it's not a fish; it's technically a reptile, but they are so cool. They're bigger than the megalodon, probably stronger. Basically, the giant ancient crocodile of the northern massive ocean-sized lake. Ancient northern-sized ocean-sized northern lake. Sorry about that. Fish technically can eat bacon. However, I do not recommend it because they do not digest grease well. Can fish get the cold? Fish can get sick. It is very common for fish to be introduced to bacteria, bacterial illnesses, or viruses. So technically, yes, they can get a cold. And a fish that would be bring back from extinction. That's a tricky one. As dangerous as it might be, I'm also going to say the mosasaurus for that question too. Sponges probably could get the suds, but unfortunately, in real life, it's called coral bleaching, which means all the polyps in a sponge's body dissipate, causing the coral to be left completely dying, basically. I sure hope not. USB cable. Mr. Krabs did that, you'd be cannibal, basically. I guess technically, Puck. Ooh, that's a tricky. Sorry about that, Andy. I started talking about corals and sponges at the same time. So corals have the polyps, but sponges have spongosoles or pores, porosoles. Two different things. Spongosoles are the like small openings in sponges that are like deep in the sponge that like gather nutrients and water. Corals are what have coral bleaching. I started talking about two different things there. My mind was wandering. Sponges, a fun, interesting fact about sponges is they are thought to be the very first animal ever on Earth. And another interesting thing about sponges, a lot of sponges evolved to become other things. However, the sponges that did not evolve and just continue to evolve into different species of sponges can only continue to evolve into sponges now because the sponges that exist today have evolved so far into being sponges that they cannot evolve into anything else because they have evolved so far into just filtering water. It's kind of crazy. Sponges evolve themselves into just being sponges forever. Well, if you consider fish that swarm, then yes, technically. Pretty much both. They've evolved themselves to be the perfect sponge. Well, they will continue to evolve into better sponges, but that's all they can become. It's just better sponges. It cannot become like coral or some other organism that can just continue to become sponges. Monkeys are cool to me. However, I really hate Cambodian monkeys because they treat each other terribly from what I've seen. You are most welcome, Bulg. Thanks for stopping by. I really love coral reefs, but I also like the abysmal zone because there's so many cool stuff is down there that we don't know about yet. Reached the 30-minute mark. So we'll do one or two more suggestions if that's all right with you guys. Or questions, whatever works best for you, fellas. All right, see you, USB cable. Thanks for stopping by. Big blue fish is big blue fish. He doesn't really have much of a fish species unless it says so here on his tag. Funny friends, quality soft sculpture. No, he's just a funny friend. He's the funny friend fish. And fish factions technically do fight over land. Mainly, it's a one-sided battle that occurs with like invasive species such as lionfish, but those territorial disputes do exist. It's mainly just lionfish driving out other fish species because nothing can fend them off because they're completely covered in venomous spines. But to answer your question, Puck, the sad reality of fish faction wars do exist. You think he has sad eyes? He's got a big smile. He's just got googly eyes. He's the big blue fish with the red fins and the googly eyes. He's gonna swim by just to say hi, because he loves his fishy friends so. Loves him so. Loves him so. He loves his fishy friends so. He'll bring you lots of treasure, because he thinks your pleasure. Singing Polly Walla Doodle all the day. And that's where we're gonna cut the stream off, fellas. That is the Big Blue Fish song that I was sung as a young man or young child. I did not make that song. My family did when I was an infant. So it's time to take off the Fun Fish Friday hat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Always so grateful to be able to talk to you guys and have such a positive community. And to answer your question, Puck, just because of your goofiness, fish do go to work in their own way. They have their own jobs to keep themselves and their young alive. So we're going to leave it at that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Love you guys. You're a great community. Very grateful to know you all and get to talk with you guys and teach you about something cool. All right. That's going to be it. Have a good rest of your day. And like always, goodbye, fishy friends.